Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we've got, well, quite a stack of sources on someone. Truly fascinating.
Absolutely. An author whose career path is, let's just say, multifaceted, doesn't quite cover it.
Not even close. I mean, calling him a multi-hyphenate, it
Uh,
just feels like an understatement,
It
right?
really does.
We're diving into the world of a figure who is somehow all these things at once. A prominent New Age writer, known globally,
A celebrated police consultant
which is already quite a thing.
and a private creative advisor to, huge pop stars and celebrities.
It's an almost unbelievable combination. Needs unpacking.
It really does. Quite a mix.
Hmm.
So our sources introduce us to Zak Martin, Irish-born, big name in the New Age movement, best-selling author, ESP, psychology.
Right, and he's been covered pretty widely in the media over the years. Currently based out in Granada, Spain, apparently.
Okay, so our mission today, let's make it straightforward. We need to figure out the core belief. The thing that links, well, all these wildly different jobs.
The police work, the music stuff, the theory. Exactly. And that core idea seems to be that psychic ability, music, art, creativity, they're not separate. They're somehow linked.
Deeply linked, yeah. That seems to be the thread.
So we'll explore him as a detective, as this creative consultant, and as a scientific theorist using, press reviews, his books, his personal history, all the stuff we could find.
Sounds good. And to really get the theory, I think we almost have to start with the practical side first. The real-world application.
The psychic detective work.
Exactly. His public profile there was huge. Martin wasn't just, writing about this stuff in isolation. He was doing it. Widely acclaimed for criminal profiling, psychic detection.
Okay, let's unpack that police consultancy angle then. Our sources definitely confirm he consulted with police forces, well, all over the world.
Right. But he got particular attention in the UK, didn't he?
Right.
Headlines for profiling work.
Yeah, including consultation with Scotland Yard.
Scotland Yard itself. Wow.
And it wasn't just talk. Press reviews seemed to confirm he had a real track record, credited with successfully finding dozens of missing people.
Dozens. That's significant.
And the UK press, specifically the Mirror, they didn't hold back, called him Britain's most gifted psychic.
High praise. And probably quite controversial at the time, I imagine.
Oh, for sure. And during his time living in the UK, his visibility was, well, enormous.
How so?
He was a regular guest, a familiar voice on London's two main radio stations back then, LBC and Capital.
Ah, okay. So massive exposure across London, the UK capital.
Exactly. And then, crucially, he founded the London Psychic Center,
Yeah.
right on Baker Street.
Baker Street in Mayfair. That's a very establishment, very visible location, not some back alley shop.
Precisely. It signals a certain level of mainstream acceptance, or at least visibility.
And that level of visibility, that kind of profile, it must have opened some unusual doors beyond just the police work.
You think? Well, here's a specific detail that kind of anchors his position, especially in the 90s celebrity world. His friendship with Princess Diana is specifically mentioned in the sources.
Princess Diana.
Yeah, and that's not just, a fun fact to drop. It suggests, well, an extremely high level of trust was placed in his intuitive judgment, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, that kind of trust. Maybe that's the bridge between these two very different professional worlds he inhabited.
What do you mean?
Well, it's fascinating, isn't it? This almost immediate shift, or maybe it was parallel, moving from that high-stakes, very public profile as a crime solver
Yeah, consulting with police, royalty.
to this very private, very discreet advisory role in the arts, serving as a personal advisor, creative advisor, career advisor.
To world-famous pop stars, TV people, movie stars.
Exactly. While he's doing the police stuff, he's also doing that, shaping careers, guiding creative output.
Which all requires, presumably, that same successful intuition he was using in the detection work.
You'd have to think so. But it wasn't just advising about music or art from the outside.
Ah, right. The sources mention he's also an accomplished composer and musician himself.
Yes. Actively advised and collaborated, musically and creatively, with successful recording artists. So he speaks both languages, if you will.
The intuitive language of ESP.
And the intuitive language of artistic creation. Music, in particular.
Okay, that makes the connection he draws between ESP and creativity feel much less abstract. It's rooted in his own life story.
Psychic ability, music, art, all creativity. It all springs from the same place. A single, shared source.
So it's not just a coincidence that he's both psychic and musical. He's arguing they're fundamentally the same type of expression.
The expressions of the same underlying mechanism, yeah. That seems to be the argument.
But does he define that unified source more clearly? Is it just like the subconscious mind, or is he suggesting something deeper?
He argues it's something more fundamental, yeah, rooted in how consciousness itself processes information,
Yeah.
maybe beyond our normal perception.
Okay. So the implication for you, the listener, the aha moment, perhaps, is that this reframes ESP.
How so?
It's not this distant, maybe slightly spooky, magical skill for a chosen few. It's presented more as, well, another part of a creative skill set. Something highly developed, perhaps, but potentially accessible.
Like the intuition that lets a great composer just hear the music, or a painter see the image.
Exactly. The same kind of intuitive leap, just maybe applied differently.
Interesting way to frame it. Less supernatural, more super creative or super intuitive.
Right. Now, let's look at how he tried to formalize these ideas, to move beyond personal experience and intuition into, well, intellectual arguments, starting with the practical stuff.
The self-development side. Yeah, the book that really put his practical methods on the map globally was How to Develop Your ESP,
Published by HarperCollins, a major publisher.
a very major publisher. And this became his worldwide bestseller. The sales figures are just staggering, really.
How many?
Over 2 million copies sold just in paperback
Wow.
and translated into 18 languages,
Mhm.
including, get this, Arabic, Swahili, and Japanese.
Okay, so that demonstrates a massive global appetite for what he was offering. Practical, clear techniques.
Easy to follow techniques, yeah, which is also what his online course, Super Intuition, seems to promise. Practical psychic growth.
Right, so that covers the how-to, the practical application for the individual. But for someone looking for maybe more intellectual heft, the question still hangs there. How does he build a serious scientific case?
A foundation for things like telepathy, clairvoyance, phenomena that science usually dismisses.
Exactly. Where does the argument come from?
Well, that's where he shifts gears, I think. From the sort of New Age practical guide to, well, scientific theorist, with his book Quantum Perception.
Llewellyn published that one, right? Another big name in that particular field.
Yes, and this book is framed as his comprehensive scientific exploration of mind and consciousness. It's a different beast entirely from the ESP guide.
Okay, so here he moves beyond just anecdote and personal experience into actual theory. But how does he use quantum physics? I mean, that's a notoriously complex, often misinterpreted field. How does he connect that to psychic phenomena?
It's a bold move for sure.
Yeah.
Basically, he uses the book to tackle those mental processes that conventional science, well, it still doesn't really have satisfactory explanations for.
Like prophetic dreams, gut feelings, precognition, telepathy.
Exactly. Things we experience or hear about but can't easily measure or explain with classical physics or biology.
So what's the quantum link he proposes?
He draws parallels. Parallels between these psychic experiences and some of the really counterintuitive discoveries coming out of quantum physics.
Such as?
Well, phenomena like non-locality, the spooky action at a distance Einstein famously disliked, where two quantum particles can be linked and instantly affect each other no matter how far apart they are.
Right. Instant connection, faster than light.
Exactly. And Martin suggests that the mechanism behind that, this instantaneous connection across space, might mirror how consciousness itself operates or communicates.
So he's suggesting our awareness, our minds, might not be strictly local, not confined just to our brains, operating only within the normal limits of space and time.
That seems to be the core of the argument in quantum perception. He's arguing that the instantaneous knowing involved in something like telepathy or remote viewing, it might actually be tapping into the same fundamental property of the universe that allows quantum entanglement.
Using modern physics to provide a potential mechanism for phenomena previously just considered, well, spiritual or paranormal.
Precisely. He's trying to ground it in physics. As one reviewer, Sasha Fenton, noted, and she's a big name in these circles too, the book attempts to build a case that will, quote, fascinate and astound you, whether you're a believer or a skeptic.
By trying to anchor it in the actual laws of the universe, or at least our current understanding of them at the quantum level?
Yeah, it's an attempt to bridge that gap between subjective experience and objective science.
Okay, that's fascinating stuff, really pushing boundaries. So when you put it all together, his entire body of work, it's quite a synthesis, isn't it?
It really is. On the one hand, he's championing the power of the intuitive mind. ESP, creativity, that inner knowing, often unbelievable, deeply personal power.
Right. The psychic detective, the musical prodigy, the quantum perception ideas.
But then on the other hand, he's simultaneously highlighting the often flawed, unreliable nature of external, supposedly objective, empirical evidence. the very stuff that modern crime detection relies on.
So he's asking you to consider both, the power within and the flaws without, and maybe question which source of information or evidence holds more weight in different situations.
It's a complex picture.
Definitely. So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to process this really expansive, maybe even contradictory career?
It's a lot to take in.
It is. We've explored this figure, Zak Martin, who's somehow successfully bridged and publicized this intersection between, well, the intensely spiritual, you could say, the New Age theory.
And the intensely pragmatic. Celebrity coaching, police profiling, very real-world applications.
And then also the theoretical cutting edge of science, or at least his interpretation of it, with quantum physics.
It's a unique blend.
It really is. He managed to operate and be successful in all those arenas.
Ultimately, I think Zak Martin's work, especially that explicit link he tries to forge between psychic ability and quantum physics and quantum perception, it really demands that we challenge our standard definitions.
Definitions of what? Reality? Evidence?
Both, probably. What counts as real, what counts as valid evidence. His work pushes those boundaries.
So a final thought for people to mull over.
Yeah, maybe this. What really stands out, what's worth pondering after this deep dive, is that connection he makes. If seemingly separate human abilities like musical genius, artistic creativity, and psychic intuition, if they're all expressions, as he suggests, of the same underlying, let's call it quantum consciousness for argument's sake,
Okay.
then where do we actually draw the line? What's the real difference between innate, raw talent like a childhood musical ability and a developed extrasensory perception? Is it a difference in kind or just degree? Can we all potentially tap into that same source?
Can ESP be learned just like an instrument if they come from the same place?
That's the question, isn't it? A fascinating one to explore on your own.